Welcome to today's webinar entitled Getting Your Feet Wet, Introduction to Clean Streams Regulations in Pennsylvania. My name is Abby Jones and I'm the Northeast Staff Attorney for Penn Future located in Mount Pocono in Monroe County. I want to thank you for joining the first of 3 presentations in the Pocono Waters Lunchtime webinar series. Before we get started, I just want to warn you that we're going to be covering a lot of things in this presentation, so maybe instead of getting your feet wet, you might just be thrown into the deep end. But you can always reach out to me afterwards if you have any remaining questions. Pocono Waters is unifying the community while educating citizens, business leaders, and local leaders about the importance of protecting exceptional value streams, highlighting the many ways that clean streams and economic development coexist in a region known for its natural beauty and booming tourism industry. Formed in 2018 in response to powerful business interests threatening EV protections in the area, Pocono Waters is comprised of local business owners, hunters, anglers, hikers, conservationists, and community members who share a commitment to ensuring that our clean streams remain clean to support a healthy economy. I suggest that you like us on Facebook, where you'll find more information about these webinars and other upcoming events. You can get involved with the Pocono Waters campaign by emailing emily@rinaldi@pennfuture.org, and always stay informed through our website at ourpoconowaters.org. Now let's get into the basics of clean streams regulations. The term water quality is often used to refer to the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of water. But when we're talking about protecting our streams, water quality refers to the suitability of a waterway to support a particular use of that stream. Now, clean water protections at both the federal and state level are based on water quality. Like all states, Pennsylvania has developed specific water quality standards to ensure protections of water quality. So let's break this down a bit. Water quality standards are comprised of 3 elements: protected water uses, water quality criteria, and anti-degradation protections. So all streams in Pennsylvania are given a use. Uses include things like cold water fisheries or trout-stocked fisheries, and as we'll hear about more in this presentation, those special protection uses of high quality and exceptional value. Pennsylvania then sets water quality criteria that are necessary to protect those uses. These criteria can be either numeric, a specific pH level for example, or narrative. For example, saying water should be free from oil, grease, scum, color, odor, things like that. Finally, because one of the principal objectives of the Federal Clean Water Act is to, quote, maintain the chemical, physical, and biological integrity of the nation's waters, end quote, the anti-degradation protections prevent degradation of those uses that have actually been attained. To summarize, water quality standards define the water quality goals of a stream by designating the uses to be made of the water and setting the criteria necessary to protect those uses. Water quality standards are also designed to ensure that no degradation of these goals, meaning the specific use of the streams, if those goals have already been met. But how do those water quality standards get applied? Well, those protections get applied through permits issued by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, DEP, for actions that could impact the streams. For example, a large development typically needs to have a wastewater treatment system if they can't tap into a public sewer line. That wastewater treatment plant would discharge into a stream and would therefore need a permit, which would include specific conditions to ensure that the water quality of the receiving stream is protected. Now, we've had a lot of questions over this on this over the past year, so I just want to make clear that high quality and exceptional value waters should almost never impact a residential property owner's normal use of their land. So putting it all together, and why we care about water quality standards. As I mentioned, the 2 highest uses in Pennsylvania are high quality and exceptional value, meaning that the waters are designated with these uses get the highest protections in the state. EV waters are the highest use and therefore have the most stringent protections. What this means is that the water quality of EV streams cannot be degraded under any circumstances. High quality waters are the next highest use and are allowed to have some degradation occur so long as it is shown that the degradation is necessary to accommodate some important social or economic development in the area. So many of you may be thinking, but wait, I've been hearing a lot about designated uses and existing uses and redesignation petitions. So what does this all mean? And this is going to tie back to the uses that are assigned to a stream under the water quality standards. So every surface water in Pennsylvania actually has two uses, an existing use and a designated use. An existing use is that use of the water that has actually been attained after 1975, which is a Clean Water Act date of importance. And these uses have actually been attained whether or not they are included in the water quality standards. A designated use, on the other hand, is that use which the state has determined should apply to a stream as part of the water quality standards set by the state. So a good way to think about existing uses versus designated uses is that existing uses is that level of water quality that the stream has actually met, whereas a designated use is like a goal for the stream as set by the state. Because the existing use and the designated use are premised on slightly different avenues to classify them, they are protected in slightly different ways. For example, because designated uses are part of Pennsylvania's water quality regulations, people can submit what's known as a stream redesignation petition if they think that the state got it wrong. On the other hand, because existing uses are the level of water that has actually been attained in the stream, those anti-degradation protections kick in, and the Clean Water Act and the Clean Streams Law in Pennsylvania prevents degradation of those waters. Now, a key point here is that because each stream has both an existing use and a designated use, the DEP will protect the higher of the two. An example of how this plays out is in the case of Devil's Hole Creek, which is actually right by our office here in Monroe County. The designated use for Devil's Hole Creek is high quality, HQ. But some organizations have petitioned for an upgrade of the stream to exceptional value. Now, through the sampling done as part of the petition review, DEP determined that the stream actually meets the criteria for EV, and therefore the existing use of Devil's Hole Creek is EV. But the designated use on the books is still HQ, pending finalization of the upgrade by the Pennsylvania Environmental Quality Board. In this case, DEP will apply the EV protections, the existing use protections, through any permitting process for activities that may impact the water quality of Devil's Hole Creek. So in this case, the existing use is EV, the designated use, while being petitioned for an upgrade, is still HQ. So DEP will protect to the higher of the two, the EV use. So how do you petition to upgrade a stream? You can submit a redesignation petition to the Environmental Quality Board, which is the agency in Pennsylvania that is responsible for establishing the water quality standards and regulations in the state. The process is a bit detailed because this is a formal rulemaking change, but basically once the EQB accepts the petition, they send it over to DEP for review and analysis, and DEP will make a recommendation back to EQB whether or not to upgrade. If EQB accepts DEP's recommendation, then the formal rulemaking process with notice and comment opportunity begins. In addition to petitions for the public, DEP or Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission can both submit requests for an upgrade to EQB directly based on their own independent analysis. Now I'm just going to add here that Penn Future has a stream redesignation handbook if you're interested in learning more. It's available through the resources page of our website, but we are currently in the process of updating the handbook and hope to have that republished and out for everybody to use by this summer. Now I know I've given you a lot of information, but I'd like to take a step back and get back to why we care about water quality regulations. We're here today because you and our Pocono Waters care about protecting EV streams in the Poconos. So let's just take a minute to focus on what EV streams mean. EV streams are the cleanest and highest quality waters in Pennsylvania. They provide unique and valuable resources including outstanding trout fishing, aesthetic pleasure, and tourism opportunities. As an EV classification is based on the stream's chemical, biological, and ecological qualities, which must meet certain very high standards, plus the water must have at least one of 6 additional factors. For example, and as is relevant for many stream redesignation petitions, an EV stream must support a high-quality aquatic community, and specific factors are set forth in the regulations, and Penn Future Stream Redesignation Handbook does a pretty good job of laying those out and explaining them. And as we talked about, the EV classification is important because it assures the highest level of protection. Remember that under the water quality regulations, the water quality of an EV stream cannot be degraded under any circumstances. So that's a really good protected level. But let's be clear here, and as we talked about before, EV classification absolutely does not prohibit development in the area in the EV watershed. A well-planned, environmentally sound development and EV streams can coexist, and in many places in Pennsylvania have been shown to do that. DEP has allowed permitting of wastewater treatment plants or development projects in EV watersheds across the state. And remember, for most people, an EV classification will have no impact on the use of their personal property. The benefits of clean water should be obvious, but let's explore that just a bit. So Pennsylvania has over 86,000 miles of streams. 2% of those 86,000 miles are classified as EV streams. Why it matters to us is that the Poconos, mainly Monroe, Wayne, and Pike counties, have 80% of all of the state's EV streams. Clearly, EV streams are an important part of the Poconos. For example, EV streams provide some of the foremost trout waters in the country and have long been held as the place for trout fishing in the East. Additionally, exceptional value waters support a robust multi-billion-dollar recreation and tourism industry in the Delaware River Basin. EV streams are also the cleanest streams and are oftentimes the headwaters. This means not only do they provide exceptional habitat for aquatic organisms and wildlife, but they provide the source for clean drinking water relied on by millions of people in the area and further downstream. Finally, EV streams can provide increased opportunities for funding to support protections, like through the Conservation District's Dirt and Gravel Road program. Bottom line, EV streams are a benefit to the Poconos. They support recreation and a healthy ecosystem. They allow for thoughtful development while maintaining some of the most important waters in all of Pennsylvania. And this is why our Pocono Waters is fighting to ensure that these clean streams remain clean. I want to thank you all for joining us today, taking your time and your lunch hour. And I think we have a few minutes for questions. If we don't get to your questions today, or if you have additional questions at a later date, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email address is on the screen. And again, I wanted to thank you for joining our Pocono Waters today.